Alright, so a bit of an unusual setting, but if I don't start recording stuff for this channel, then it's never going to get recorded. So I've got a bunch of questions on Instagram from a recent Q&A, and one of those questions comes from Wilson, who's another YouTuber, a really chill guy and a nice member of the community Discord server as well. They just recently contributed to the community material pack. Anyway, their question was, what kept you going on YouTube even when stats are low and things are slow? And I think the answer to that question has a bit of a positive and a negative component. I think the negative component is there's no alternative. Like, YouTube brings the audience unlike any other platform except, I don't know, maybe TikTok. But YouTube breeds, I think, the most committed audience members, the people that will sit with your content for a while, that make it a part of their lifestyle, make it a part of their story and their projects. There is no other platform which gives you that. So if you felt low about the stats on one particular day, and then, I don't know, say you've made the decision then to stop making stuff for YouTube, and then 5 years later you look back and think, oh god, what audience could I have if I just didn't stop on that one day when I was feeling down, then that's on you. So to save yourself from having that moment of regret, there's no alternative but to keep going. But that paints in a bit of a bad picture, because it's not like it's a controlling relationship. Realistically, if you make any kind of content within a general umbrella of a subject, so in our case it's Blender, your channel's still gonna grow. You know, even if you make a video and the stats are particularly bad in comparison to your average, sure, you might see like a little dip of subscribers to start with, but over time, as the video is recommended, and maybe bad performing videos will be recommended less in general, but over time you should see that you'll end up with a net positive of subscribers. This might not apply completely to like really tiny channels, but for channels that have got enough kick in them already, where the recommendations are cycling their videos around in people's homepages, that's a general truth. It doesn't matter necessarily what specific content you're making, even if it's not your best, the channel should still grow. So it's not like it's an all or nothing thing, and you do have a lot of leeway in making a choice between, you know, making content that's more enjoyable or making content that's more, I guess, business viable. It depends how much you want to lean into it. Some people are really affected by the statistics, some not so much. I think I have my own kind of threshold. I do pay attention to it quite a lot because, you know, I want the channel to grow. I don't want it to grow too quickly for the wrong reasons. I've spoken about that on Blenderness before. Like, if you have one viral video that blows up and you see a sudden surge of subscribers, are they really there for you? Do they understand who you are, or did they just click on an impulse because the video was blowing up? So there are so many factors to keep in mind, and I wouldn't trust anyone that gives you like a complete black and white representation of what YouTube is, how they approach it, whether they feel good or bad for a particular aspect of it. But yeah, I guess from another perspective of like, even if I wasn't doing YouTube videos and instead just making products, again, there's nothing which brings you an audience as efficiently and to the scale that YouTube does. So just in every sense of the word, from like most angles that I can think of, it would be absolutely ridiculous to stop making content for YouTube, even if there was a particularly bad day for statistics, or if things were moving slow for a certain amount of time. Now, I think I've done a pretty good job of converting the YouTube audience quite well into like package and product users and commercial buyers, because the vast majority of my subscriber base is also signed up to the Gumroad mailing list. Now, that's a particular tactic, if you want to think about it, that I've employed, and I've kind of suggested to some other creators to do that as well. It's paid off well for me, I think, in trying to like get to a general living amount, so like a survivable amount despite not being like a huge YouTuber, you know? But I also have this approach to making content, which is where I'm trying to create as many backup plans as possible. That's why I have my fingers in so many different types of projects. And YouTube, despite being like the main flagship thing, is still one of those backup projects. So meaning that if everything else failed, I would still have YouTube, and vice versa. If YouTube failed, I would still have everything else. And if you have a good thing going, then why give it up? So yeah, that's why I've continued with YouTube, even when the statistics are low and when there were slow days, because realistically, it would be completely stupid to stop doing it. Although I completely understand other people who let it get to them, particularly those who are starting out because they don't have much validation received from the channel. They may not be monetized, they may see it as a futile effort. All I can say is if you stick with it, it will pay off in ways that you may not realize. But of course, it does take a lot of commitment, a lot of effort, and a pinch of luck. So yeah, thanks for asking, Wilson. Hopefully that answers the question.